Welcome to the channel. Stick around. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to show you how to take a dumpster fire of a pinball machine and turn it into something you will be proud of. From start to finish, from beginning to end, I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks all in one video. And stick around to the end because I'm going to introduce a new way of how we're going to start painting cabinets from now on. All this and much more. Hey my Russians, we are going to work on a pinball cabinet. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go top to bottom on this using all the techniques I showed in all my videos. So we'll have one video to reference everything. So it's in, I don't know, it's in pretty good shape. It's pretty solid, but it's got some funky business going on to it. So, you know, if we look, we got a lot of rust. We got some separating on the cabinet. It's not too bad, but it's there. Somebody put a piece of plywood, I guess, I don't know if there's a big hole under there or whatever for where the coin box is, but what they did is they put a whole bunch of little nails in there that I got to figure out how to take this thing off. But we're going to take off the side rails. Okay, we're going to take out all the wiring. Clean up the inside. Those bolts are in there. They're seized in there, so we might have to replace the plates. But not too bad condition. And then the perch, as I like to call it, there's evidence of animals, I don't know, rats or whatever, gnawing on it or traveling in and out. So we'll have to fix this up, and structurally it's not very tight. So you'll always see operators putting in random screws to try to hold it together, but the best practice is to take it right off. Either make a new one or just glue it back on and be done with it. I'll also be taking out the side rails, and we'll see what to do back here. It's pretty chewed up, but I have a feeling, yeah, if you look here, I have a feeling our technique with the resin will work as well. Okay, so I'm gonna get into it. I'm going to show you what we're going to do on this thing step by step. Okay, so what I'm doing with all these little nails, like they're like all over it, to take this piece of wood out, I'm just tapping them out with a little screwdriver right here. Just going out the nail. Tapping them in one by one and pulling them out. Okay, once this is done, I'm going to do both sides because there's a bunch on this side too. I'm going to leave these. I'm going to see if I can push this piece of plywood forward. This isn't something you're typically going to see, guys, so I'm making this one up as I go. I'll bring you back. Okay, I've taken out all the nails, so on both sides. We got a lot of nails in there. Okay. Well, this must have been in a rough location if they went through the exercise of doing that so nobody would steal a coin door. And or the coin bugs. All right, what I'm going to do is all these nails, I'm going to pull them this way so we don't have a big hole this way. And I'll bring you back when that's done. Okay, we're going to take out the wiring now. One of the things you're going to do is when you take these out, these are the switches for the flippers. Make sure you put tape around them so you don't lose these screws because they're unique to this. Any nuts or screws that I take out that I don't need, like these ground braids. I'm going to put them back in so I don't lose them. And I'm basically going to gut the cabinet just out of interest. It's always good to see what's lurking at the bottom of these things. So it's nothing really special. It's actually pretty clean. We've got some, this is the ball, tilt ball for here. So I guess I'll just put that back in there. And just some random broken screws and whatever. But like these, you know, they always serve a purpose for coils and things like that, coil stops. So I'm going to leave the ground braid in, but I'm going to basically take everything out, including the speaker, the switch, take out the lockdown bar, and I'll also take down all the chrome. I'll do that through the power of before and after. So here's the before. There we go. This is what I was talking about. Any unique screws, these are for the flipper buttons. Just make sure you take them off so you don't lose them. Same with here. Another best practice, if you're going to cut wires, I decided to leave the speaker on. That way it's not going to get just beat up from the other side. Leave some wiring so you know where to put it. Now we're going to take out the coin door surround. And I took off the glass receiver. I'm going to do some magic on that to clean it up as well. Taking out the coin door surround, and not it's pretty straightforward with the exception of two nuts that'll drive you a bit crazy, that'll drive you nuts, no pun intended. One of them is in here, so you can see how it's recessed, and that's in order to clear the lock bar handle. Okay, so they purposely put in a short nut, if you look at the sizes, but because it's recessed in there, you got to get a thin enough socket to get in there. The other one is right behind here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's this one here. The problem here is you can't get a socket in there because this piece of wood is blocking it. So what you got to do is use a 9mm wrench and just take your time, pull it out. Okay, once they're out, they're out. Now it's time for lockdown bar. So this one, I'll do this, try to do it right now. There's two nuts here. Okay, one, and then there's the second one. So it's got one of those star. There we go. And it's got a round washer thing. So let's pull this out. Okay. And then pull it out. Okay. So basically that rides in there. Boom. And then that's the bolt you see on this side. So when we take this out, you can see some colors here. See how vibrant the red-orange was. Okay, and then to take the lock bar off, it's for 3 or 4 nuts. 1, 2, this is a grounding nut as well, 3. There is no 4th, this would have been the 4th to hold it in. Okay, so we're just gonna pull those out, and then this, well, let's try to do it live, one-handed, see what happens here. keeping all the nuts and bolts for the assembly separate, and then that's it. It's as simple as taking that off. So I'm going to put that here, and we'll actually take this apart as well, just to clean it up. Looks nice on the bottom. On the top, we've got some of the rusties going on. So, okay, so here's a look what we got going with the lock bar off and the screws for the coin door surround. We're going to leave it like this. I will take these off. I'll clean everything here. I'm not going to paint it again just because it's the yellow that I want. But if I'm not happy with it, I will paint it, and then I'll leave the ground braid just so it's nice. I'll probably take the bottom out because it's like literally ready to pop out. Only thing that's holding it is basically this piece of wood here, that side and down here. So if I knock that off, which wouldn't be too difficult, I'll show you. I'm doing this one hand, but I could take that off. And then the bottom, see how it started already? So I would just go in there, just push right off. And then the bottom would come off. And then I could give it a nice thorough cleaning at that point. So what do we have left is to take off the side rails. And that will pretty well do it until we get into the cleaning of everything, the stripping of the paint, and then decide what we're going to do with this perch, whether we make another one or I save it. I'll bring it back. Okay, Russians. Oh, by the way, I took the guts out of the game, and you know my portable pinball body? That's what it is. So get yourself a nice piece of plywood, plop all this stuff on, then you got to find yourself a coin door wiring harness. You plug it in here, and you're good to go. And there's your body on a piece of wood. Maybe I'll make a video on that too. But anyway, a key to stripping down a body is making sure everything's organized. Wow, good, that didn't break. Making sure everything is organized. So I bag everything. I will label it. So these are all the ground braids, flipper buttons, things like that. Lockdown bar, the glass receiver, and the coin door surround. So just label everything up together. And when you put it back together, it will make your life a lot easier. So right now I'm taking off the ground braid. I'm going to show you how I do it anyway, without mangling it. Yeah, okay, look. So it's stapled. These staples are in there. They're really embedded. So get yourself a screw or something like that. Try to get it right at the edge. Lift it. Get yourself a set of side cutters. Don't grab the braid because this stuff frays and it breaks. And lift off the staple. That's it. So keep going around. Obviously it's going to get a little bit more difficult when you get into the detail that we've got over there. But just take your time. If you do end up breaking the braid, you just solder it back together. It's not the end of the world. I like to keep the braids just because it's pretty, it's factory. There's other ways of doing it where you can, if you want to cut strips of metal that's conductive, you can do that as well. But we're doing a complete color change on this cabinet. I was originally going to use this for a skate ball project, which is yellow. I still might, who knows, but I got something else cooking, so we might repurpose this for that. Now, next thing I'll do is take off the side rails, take off the perch. Maybe I'll take out the back on this go or not, and then we'll get it ready for removal of the paint or whatever this is. So yes, broken mirror. Ooh, bad luck. All right, guys, I'll see you in a bit. All right, let's take off the side rails now. Let me show you what they look like. There are, I don't know if you can tell, but there are some factory, I'm assuming this is from the factory, some divots. So I'm going to pull them off using my very controversial tool and technique. You know what, in the perfect world, if you could get some sort of a tool on this and manage to pull it out without marring the surface, that would be obviously the better way to go. Like, for example, I'm sure if I just pried this one out a little bit, I'd be able to, yeah, because this one you might be able to get out doing that. But my technique works for me. Basically inserting this 5-in-1 tool, getting it under and just smashing it and popping the head off. So that's the way I'm gonna roll. I'll show you how it works. Try to get the camera set up here. Get you. Can you see me? Yeah, you got a good view. All right. Give yourself a good hammer. And start by getting your tool. Okay, now most people might want to pry it at this point, but if you pry it, you are gonna screw that up. I'm telling you flat out. So grab yourself something like that. Boom, she popped out. Okay. Bottom ones, don't hammer too hard in, only because you don't want to go through and damage the other side of the railing, right? Oh, there's the one more nail I forgot about. And there's the nail on the top. It's not just, yeah, just pries off. It's usually, it's the top nail there. Okay, there is your side. No worse for wear than it would have been on the factory. No marring. Give these things a good cleaning and they'll be good as new. Now onto the side. Okay, now we come to the fun part of the side rail removal process, is getting out these darned nails, these screw nails. So we have no real surface leverage here. There's no way of getting, you know, something in here to pull it out simply. So what you need to do, what I do, is I make the hole a little bigger to get a tool in there. So for example, this is what you're gonna end up with. Okay, it looks pretty barbaric, but it doesn't even scratch the surface with how far it goes in with the nail. So let me show you what we're gonna do. We're not gonna use anything really special as far as tools go. Let's see if I can set you up there. Okay, you can see it. So, first thing I want to do is I just want to knock the nail around a bit. Just to kind of move it. Obviously be careful not to push it any deeper. Okay. Now let me just use a screw. Okay, so it gives me a little bit of a pocket. I can stick side cutters or something like that in. There we go. Yeah, you can totally see what's going on. Okay. So this much was basically represents the hole, and that's how much nail you have that we took out. Okay, so this is probably going to take you longer than the majority of doing what we did, but just persevere and you'll get through it. Okay, we got her stripped. I leave the speaker in because I'll probably change the bottom. I'll show you how to do that, but let's work on some other niceties. So look at this perch. Yeah, she's ready to come on. So we're gonna gingerly remove it. I know that this is just a couple of nails that hold it, punched in this way. So you just want to be careful that you don't really damage the cabinet and create more work for yourself than you really have to. So I'm gonna take the perch off. Okay, it's just You can see it around here. So I'll just probably, let's do this live. Let's grab a hammer and just pop it up. Yeah, we're gonna get a couple of pry bars in there. So let me flip it around, we'll do it from the bottom. Okay, Russians, we are gonna strip the cabinet now. We're gonna take off the lacquer or paint or whatever you wanna call it. Here's what you're gonna need. Obviously a work table. The cabinet has to be dead level, okay? You need some paper towels, you need some plastic, vinyl, whatever, and you need acetone. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay out paper towel, pour the acetone, and then put the plastic on, and then let the acetone do its work. And the reason you want this thing dead level is because it's a liquid, so if it's tilted to the side, the acetone's gonna literally drip right off. So anyways, I'll bring you back. Make sure you saturate it and cover it with the plastic. This stuff is critical. Otherwise it will evaporate off and you'll have spent a lot of money for nothing. Okay, let's let it cook. All right, it's been, oh, that's my camera. It's been about, I don't know, say 5 minutes. So let's see what's going on here. All right, here's what you're looking for. You want to get a set of gloves. Have everything at the ready because you don't want the acetone to evaporate. So a set of gloves, and you're just checking to make sure. Yeah, see how it's just releasing? It's probably still going to leave the primer behind, but don't worry about it. So you just want to start scraping it up. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, good. It's weird because you actually see the impression. Don't worry about the stuff being left behind. Oh, don't kill the cabinet. on. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Okay. And you want to have your disposal. Handy. Throw all that out. Let's get the rag going. Okay, this is critical. This is the step that gets it all done. And you want to make sure you're still wet. Not bad, eh? Okay. Okay. Let's fix some nasties over here. I'll show you what I did on this side. This side's really bad. It's got some serious openings. I did glue it, clamped it, let it rest for a couple of days. Now it's nice and tight. So we're going to fill up all the uglies. We're going to use our famous level. I know it's hard to see. Make sure it's level, because again, if the game is tilted that way, all the epoxy or fiberglass resin is gonna, it's gonna try to self-level itself, and you'll end up with a pool. So this is what I'm using. Fiberglass resin. Here's the hardener. What you need is a nice container as well. Just using plastic water bottle, just cut it in half. Okay. Again, the tape, you just put a piece of tape. You want to make sure it's just a bit higher than the area you're trying to fill. Okay, and you tighten it on the bottom. So when you tighten it, run your finger along, because you want to make a little pocket here so the resin will flow in there, okay? It's the green painter's tape. And you're trying to make sure that you fill up any potential for the resin to leak. What's going on? This is good tape. And again, we got, I think you can just see it here. Yeah. Okay, just give it a shot here. Okay, let's mix and pour. I just filled in the bolt holes, just some smash paper towel, and just shoved in the cavity there, just so it wouldn't, so they don't fill up. Well, it's going to fill up a bit, but it'll be relatively easy to get it out. Okay, and yeah, okay, you'll be able to see the pour here. Okay, let me mix this stuff up. Okay, let's take off the tape, see what we got going on here. And all the naysayers that say the tape is going to stick. So I ended up coating the whole top just because it had puckers and all kinds of things going on. So good way of doing it. Okay, let's see what happens here. Look at that. And you can even reuse it if you want. But anyway, here is what we have. I think this came out perfect. So we're gonna let it cure for a couple of days. It's already starting to set up. Been a few hours. But once she's nice and cured, we're gonna take the palm sander to it and get her done, and I'll bring it back. I'll bring you back when that happens. I already took the tape off on this side. Same thing, this, I think it's built up enough. We'll see when we sand it down. We might have to give it another little bit of a pop. And then here is full. Looks, it's really clear, the stuff when it dries, so it gives you the illusion that there's gaps, but there's not. That's nice and full. Okay, so we put down the resin and sanded it. You've seen my other videos on, or my other video on sanding. It's not really that exciting, but nonetheless, that's what we did. And there's a spot that didn't actually adhere very well. Sorry, it didn't end up going in the hole where it was supposed to, so I just touched it up a little bit with some more resin. Now we're going to sand it off, so I'll try to record this. So what I'm using is just a palm sander, and I got 300 fine. Okay, I just put my mask on, so it's going to be a bit muted, but here we go. Oh, that came out good. Okay, happy with that. Just gonna touch this up a bit. We're gonna put you guys down because it's gonna be a little finessey here. And then I'll bring you back. Okay. Smooth to the touch. Very smooth to the touch. Perfect. Okay, it looks like there's a spot here, but there's not 100% smooth. Okay, the next step. Well, first, I'm gonna knock these out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use an X-Acto knife. I'm gonna cut right here aggressively, right here, and right here, right there, and right there, just so that it doesn't send a tremor up here. And then we're gonna use my patented not body filler, sorry, drywall compound. This cabinet's in pretty good shape. So we're just going to focus on just a few spots. I'll do the whole thing, but I'll get, you know, kind of sloppy on areas where there's a lot of like knots and things like that. So like right here is gonna need some attention. You can actually feel it and probably pick at it. Yeah. So I'll knock those out. And we will bring you back. Okay, let's use some easy fill compound to fix the planking on the inside of the cabinet. And some of the damage on the outside. I'll bring you back when we're at the outside. It's easier to film. Okay, I already put a little in there just to see how much we're gonna need. This isn't actually in some pretty good shape, not like the last one on the video, so let's go to town. We are just using regular drywall tools. Very light skin. All right, here's where all those little holes were. So I'm gonna make sure that they are filled in. Okay, just showing you the aftermath here. Probably gonna have to do another coat. I'm gonna let it dry, really dry, and then sand it all down. Here, I just got my finger, put it right across, just to fill up any like pinholes, things like that. And then the top, again, just went to town. Here's where all those little nails were. So that's probably gonna take a couple of coats, but then we're also gonna do the resin like I just said. And here's the front. Nothing really, there's nothing really nice about the way it just went on, but again, let it dry. The wood does absorb the moisture, but it won't cause it to swell up, so you won't get the fibers that are swelling up. You may, whatever, but when you sand it down, she gets nice and smooth. And then the same thing over here, just went over it with my finger. I still have to do the other side, but I want this side to dry before I flip it. Okay, you'll notice that we painted it. And what I did is I went for the faded sort of look, meaning I sprayed it and just kind of feathered it so you still get the raw wood as you would from the factory. Okay, looks a lot cleaner. I just have to blow it out. It's got a lot of dust in it. And then we're gonna put new backer on it. So I just went to the home store, got them to cut it by, what is it, 21 by 50.5. Of course, they couldn't do it 48, so you have to buy a full sheet of this stuff. But when this goes on the bottom, ladies and gentlemen, it just makes it pop. Anyway, I will bring you back. I guess the next stage, we'll sand. So we'll sand it. We'll put the bottom on. No, we'll sand it, paint it, put the bottom on. We'll figure it out. Okay, see you in a bit. In this view before, so here's what we're doing. We're gonna sand down the cabinet. We're not going for 100% smooth. We need to have some tooth in it just so that the paint can stick. But this is just a hand sander. It's actually a drywall sander. It's drywall sandpaper 100 grit. And you better wear a dust mask, guys. There's a lot of dust that's going to be floating around. So I'm going to try to... Let me show you the before anyway. Guys, this is, ladies and guys, sorry for smooth, beautifully smooth. All right, we're all sanded, smooth to the touch. Now we're gonna work on the bottom. So I alluded to this before. We're gonna cut a nice fresh piece of wood and we're gonna trim it out with some sides. 5. This is great beer, guys. Anyway, listen, so I went to the home store, cut 50.5 by 22, I think it was. I gave you the dimension. And I also got this, it's a scrap. I just cut on the table saw, roughly 1/2 inch, or like 1.5 centimeters. Maybe not a 1/2 inch, but 1 centimeter. Yeah, 1/2 inch, whatever. I just cut these strips. So what's gonna happen is this is loose. Well, trust me, it's loose. Just fitting, yeah. Okay. So we're gonna sit it down, and then we're gonna glue these pieces on. And they're just proud. All right, if I push them down, they're level, but, and then we're gonna use the resin to fill up all the gaps and stuff because there's a lot of, especially on the back here, it's really chewed up. Okay, so that's the way we're gonna roll, and I'll bring you back. Okay, so here's the bottom, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna trace out where the power button and the speaker go using the original. So let's trace it out. And then I'm not going to bother with the vent holes because we'll have plenty of ventilation through the head. And we'll cut this out and then I'll show you how we're going to secure the bottom to the cabinet. Okay, securing time. Yeah, don't ask what happened here. But anyway, it'll get cut out with the speaker. And then that's where that's going to go. I'll either use a hole saw or a jigsaw and then a router. But anyway, so this is what we're going to do. Using these cutoffs, I'm going to glue them in place. And then we're going to use some Well, first we're going to glue the bottom, then we'll glue the sides, and then we're going to use sander, sand them down, and then we're going to use the resin. Okay, so to you, it's going to be 30 seconds. To me, it's going to be a little longer. So anyways, we'll bring it back. Okay, and then we'll clean up the runs. So now I just have an assortment of clamps. We're going to start gluing out the strips that we cut. I'm going to try to keep the glue overspray, is that a good word? To a minimum. Make sure you got good coverage and make sure you've got good clamping. Okay, so this is going to be fun. I got to find some more clamps. We're going to go right around. Same thing, just put it down, run a bead of glue, put it up. It's like you can barely tell, but it is just proud. The top, flush in some places, proud in the other places, so it's all good, because when we sand it down, it'll be nice and smooth. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, we're done. We used a combination of tape. These are just weights to, push down to make sure the glue on the bottom is contacting. So weights, clamps, and tape. I just a piece of tape, clamped it around. I think you can see the effect we got here. Okay, so we're gonna let this cook for 24 hours. And then we will bring you back. So to me, it's 24 hours. To you, it's... Okay, we are 24 hours later. 30 seconds in your world. And this is nice and dry. So we're going to take off our makeshift clamps. Yeah, you can see it's better. I have a mask on, so it might sound like I'm muffled. Really happy with the way this came out. Nice and solid. The glue did its job. 100 grit on a block sand. Just gonna take down the ridge. Yeah, you can use a power sander. I'm just gonna do it this way. Handle. Just a little bit of a radius. Okay, we're gonna fill this in. This over. A little rough here, but hopefully the first coat of paint, or primer I should say, is going to hide some of it. 45. Pop. Okay. Oh, came out pretty good. Just got to get the start pouring. So this side is pretty good. Other than that, so we'll fix this. And then this, we're gonna need the dam. I cut some holes in here, so let the resin kind of flow in there, just so that it's got something to grab against, right? Okay, so put it down here. I think I put enough. No, we'll come back, and the same here. All right, let's take the tape off. Look at that, just beautiful. All right, enough of that. Yeah, I'm gonna come back here and redo this corner. And then we're gonna let it bake. And then we'll sand it tomorrow. We got a good ridge here, so this should sand quite nicely. Almost there. So, can't really see what's going on here. But I sanded it down, got it smooth. And now what I'm doing is the final stages before I paint. I'm gonna paint the bottom. So I just literally grabbed the drywall compound with my finger, and I just went over and smoothed it. And I just put a bit of extra on the side here just to get, you know, nibs like that. So I've let it dry thoroughly tomorrow. Give it a final sanding. Hey, if it's your birthday, happy birthday. It's somebody's birthday. And we will, yeah, we're gonna sand it, we're gonna tack cloth it, and then we're gonna go to town with paint. I'm not sure if we're gonna spray or roll. Or do something completely off the wall. Whatever we do, hope it'll come out okay. Okay, it's the next day. We are all dry. This part's critical. You do not want to paint over drywall compound that is not smooth or prepped properly. And I'll tell you why, because it is impossible. Once the paint goes on, it's impossible to change. So just take the time to go over it with your hands. Feel for any bumps, anything that doesn't feel right. Oh, that feels good. And go for it. Yeah, so here it's rough for me. So I gotta be careful because these are there we go. That's good. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, we're gonna blow it off. And we're gonna hit it with paint. Blow it off. I'll let the dust settle, and then I'll hit it with a tack cloth, and we'll hit it with some paint. Okay, I will bring you back. Okay, let's get to rolling, literally. Okay, don't be cheap. Go to the dollar store and buy a good paint tray. This is the part of the video that I decided to do a different technique after I rolled it and it didn't come out clean. So, I have another video coming of how I'm going to change the way I roll cabinets going forward. I'm actually going to trowel them with drywall trowels. So, to that end, please feel free to watch the rest of this video. The troweling video will be coming soon. The one thing I can say about rolling, brushing, or troweling is, this is my opinion, it's actually pushing the paint into the fibers of the wood, which gives it better holding power. This is as opposed to spraying. So again, the next video I got coming out is going to show you how we're going to trowel the paint on, which I think you'll be quite impressed with. Show you a little painting hack. Load up your rollers, your brush, whatever. Put it in a plastic bag. That way you don't have to clean it off. And it'll last a few days even in like crazy heat like I got going on right now. So. Okay, light sand, first coat, very, very light coat. It's water-based, so we don't want to really disturb the drywall compound, which is water-based. If you sit there and you go back and forth with the roller, you will pull it up and you will make things kind of worthless. So what I did is, again, light coat, very light sanding. And we got a little bit of, you can see some tooth on it. I'm gonna go over with the roller again. We're gonna go a little bit thicker, a little bit more aggressive, but I'm not gonna leave trails, okay? So nice and smooth and good action. Okay, I'm just sanding it down. Circles, we're not wet sanding like I did in my other project. We're just getting away some of the orange peel. And then we're gonna hit it one more time with some paint. And we'll call it good. You guys remember how chalked up the back was? It was all clapped out. Okay, blow this off. Okay, we're done. Paint is literally drying, last coat. Just showing you the edges, how they came out. Pretty smooth. Looks blotchy because again, I just rolled on a final coat and it's just drying. That'll do her. Okay. So here's a spoiler alert to the next video where I show you how to trowel the paint on. And I cannot begin to tell you how smooth this is. So this is the cabinet we were working on. I did all the fixes to the bottom here. Okay, and then here's the white on the side. You'll have to forgive these grubby marks. Those are just my fingers after touching newspaper. But it is very, very smooth. I don't know how else to put it. Here was a mistake with some orange paint, but I managed to get it off with acetone, luckily. Because this stuff does not come off till I do the other side. So anyway, I'm going to show you on the next video how I prepped this cabinet and eventually prep this cabinet as well to get it to that level of smooth instead of sanding. Nothing wrong with sanding and wet sanding and doing all that, but I think this is a better, quicker technique and it saves a lot of paint as well. So, okay, enough talking. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, LSS as I like to say going forward. And we will bring you more content. And I really love the fact that the channel is growing the way it is. Again, I just did it so I can do something to have some fun and show my kids that, hey, there's other people that are actually interested in this stuff as well. So anyways, guys, Rush fan, over and out. Have a good one.